London, 1888. The fog is thick, the gas lamps flicker, and in the shadows, a predator is waiting. Within 12 weeks, 5 women would be butchered with surgical precision. Letters taunting the police signed with 2 chilling words, Jack the Ripper. Over a century later, his identity is still unknown. Who was he? A doctor? A madman? Or someone powerful enough to vanish into history? Tonight, we reopen the case. The nightmare began on August 31st. Marion Nichols, known as Polly, was found in a Whitechapel alley. Her throat had been cut so deep it nearly severed her head, her body savagely mutilated. Just days later, another victim, Annie Chapman, was discovered in a backyard. Her organs had been removed with such precision that investigators believed the killer had medical training. By now, fear spread like wildfire. Newspapers filled with gruesome headlines. Crowds gathered at murder scenes, desperate for answers. London's East End lived in terror, as every shadow could hide the Ripper. On September 30th, the killer escalated. 2 women, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, were murdered on the same night. Stride's attack was quick, as if interrupted. But Eddowes suffered the full horror of the Ripper's blade. Her face and body mutilated with such cruelty that even hardened detectives struggled to describe it. That same week, police received letters signed, Jack the Ripper. One arrived with half a human kidney, proof the killer was mocking them. Then, in November, came the final known victim, Mary Jane Kelly. Found in her small Whitechapel room, her murder was the most brutal of them all. Her body was so mutilated that even seasoned officers were shaken. And then, silence. The murders ended as suddenly as they began. But who was Jack the Ripper? Theories spread as quickly as fear. Some pointed to Montague John Druitt, a troubled barrister who ended his own life soon after the killings stopped. Others accused Aaron Kosminski, a Polish barber plagued by mental illness, who lived near the crime scenes. A famous painter, Walter Sickert, was also suspected, his disturbing artwork seen by some as confessions in disguise. And then there were whispers of royalty, Prince Albert Victor, dragging the crown itself into the mystery. Others hinted at a secret society, the Freemasons, covering up the truth. But despite endless speculation, no one was ever convicted. The truth is, Victorian London was ill-equipped. Fingerprinting didn't exist. DNA analysis was more than a century away. Whitechapel's narrow alleys and dimly lit streets made perfect hunting grounds. And the killer, whoever he was, knew how to vanish. Modern science has tried to solve it. DNA tests on old evidence have suggested Kosminski, but contamination and doubt leave the case unsolved. And so Jack the Ripper remains a shadow. A ghost story woven into the bricks of London. More than 130 years later, his crimes are still studied, retold, and feared. But beyond the theories and legends, there were real victims: Polly Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. 5 women whose lives ended in violence, and whose names are forever linked to history's darkest riddle. So, who was Jack the Ripper? A doctor? A madman? Or a man clever enough to outsmart the world? One thing is certain, his true identity still walks hidden, not in the streets of Whitechapel, but in the endless shadows of mystery.